Kelly and I were in a city group a long time ago.
Yes.
For a couple of years. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you're in social work,
yes.
right? When we were in city group, we would have these conversations a lot. So I know the answer to this question, but I want them to hear it. Just how has the reality of just the injustices that you see, what you come across day in and day out, how has that affected your relationship with God, your belief in God, all of that?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think I struggled a lot with injustice even before my current job, just through my social work program and the stuff that we were being confronted with there. But it's really in my current job where I had to wrestle with my faith and how I was relating to God and seeing this day to day.
Yeah.
And so I'm a therapist at the Women's Center in a rape crisis center. And so just day after day, I am hearing these stories of sexual assault or other kinds of abuse. And I have a lot of kids I see a lot of kids for my clients who are in the care of their grandparents. And so to me, it was like, I'm seeing generational violence, generational poverty, generational suffering.
Yeah.
And so just through that every day, just these questions started to bubble up, and I just noticed this rage inside. I can't even use the word anger because it was felt more than that. Like physically felt it in my body.
Yeah.
And I realized that was directed at God at the time. And so these questions just started bubbling up, like, do you see this, God? Like, how are you seeing this? Where are you in this? And a lot of my clients are not believers. They don't know the Lord. And so it was kind of like a lot of it was because of their abuse. They couldn't believe in a God, or actually because of abuse in churches. And so I was like, you're not even giving them a chance to know you, you know? Where is the hope for them?
Yeah.
So I felt myself just doubting if I could trust in his goodness, and that doubting if I could trust that he's just.
Wow. So what are ways in which God then met you in that? What are ways in which he maybe even comforted you in that? Like, how did he respond to that when you...
So because I was just so angry, I literally could not pray these like sweet little hopeful prayers that I was praying anymore. So I just started pouring out to him that I was angry at him, that I didn't see how he was working in this, that I felt like he was passively sitting by as generations suffered before him.
Yeah.
And so with me, it was only through me being honest in prayer and through repeated prayer over and over again that he just met me in that. And one night hit me with Psalm 18. And it was just this beautiful, terrifying image of the wrath of God. So it talks about him. So David cried out to him, and he heard David's prayer. And in defense of David against his enemy, he came down with smoke coming out of his nose and hailstones and coals of fire coming out of his feet. And it said the earth rocked and reeled. Yeah. And so he just used that to show me that he hates injustice, that he is actively fighting for his people, that he cares about the suffering of his people.
Wow.
And then a few months later, you preached a sermon in Habakkuk. And there's the verse that says the earth will fill the earth with his glory.
Yeah.
And so again, he just met me in that and used that to show me that that he will eradicate sin and suffering of this earth. That is something that he will do.
Yeah.
And so that was the first time I felt a renewed sense of hope for my clients and just for the brokenness of this world.
Yeah, that's good. How are friends, in particular Christians, so I imagine this would be helpful for people to hear. How did they care for you in those moments when they were dark? How did they not care for you very well in those moments when it was dark?
Yeah, my community was amazing. I think the best thing that they did for me was just let me be there. They kind of sat with me in that and walked with me in that, encouraged me to bring it before the Lord over and over and over again. and kind of shared that they were doubting too, that they had their own struggles with their faith.
Yeah.
So it just gave me the freedom to talk about it and to bring it before the Lord.
Yeah.
And then what I think was not very helpful, I would read these scriptures that God cares about the poor and the oppressed, and so when people would put that in front of me with good intention, but it honestly just made me more frustrated because I was like, I know, I've read that, I know that,
Yeah.
but it's not what I'm seeing.
Sure.
That's not what I'm believing right now.
Yeah.
And so I just needed Jesus to personally speak that to me.
That's
and
good.
And then it's not to say that God can't use people to speak truth to
Sure.
other people. I believe that. I've seen that happen. But for me at that time, I needed God to break through and tell me that himself. And just because he hears me and he's faithful, he did that.
Yeah. Where are you now?
Yeah. It's not over. I still struggle with it all the time. I still have doubts all the time. I still hear these stories every day, so something new will hit and I'm like, what is that? But I bring that before the Lord every time, and he's faithful to meet me there. He's faithful to either show me more of himself or just kind of be like, I know.
Yeah.
I see it too.
Okay.
So.
Good.